The winning blueprint presents.
Welcome, you are in the lab room on this gorgeous Friday afternoon. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. And we had Thursday night football last night. The Kansas City Chiefs traveled to the San Diego Chargers to handle some family business. And they did not. The San Diego Chargers did what they were supposed to do in this football game. They won. And they won handily, which is what everyone has done against the Kansas City Chiefs this season. And the Chiefs did what they do. They turned the football over. You can't win in the National Football League turning the football over. It just doesn't happen. The game started out close. Any hope of winning this game probably was dashed early on, even though the game was close for the most part up until the latter stages of the third quarter. But the Chiefs started the game off like they've been doing all season long. They turned it over. They put together a lengthy drive, got close to the end zone, and then fumbled. That's what the Chiefs have done this year. Whether it's been a fumble, an interception, they found ways to turn the ball over. And that's what they do best. That's what they've done best. And that's what they did in this game. And it stopped them from having any chance of winning this football game. San Diego came out, and Phillip Rivers was very sharp. He was hot in this football game. He had 2 incompletions in the first half. And he started out the game 12 of 12. His last 2 passes were incompletions. One, a throwaway on first down and goal from about the 5-yard line or maybe the 3-yard line. And the second of which on third and goal, which he forced into tight coverage and was picked off in the end zone, which you can't do. You can't take points off the board in the National Football League. That's a cardinal sin. And again, this is why the San Diego Chargers haven't been a good football team this year. Instead of Phillip Rivers doing what he did on first down, which is throw the ball into the 15th row and kick a field goal, on third down, he decided to force it into tight coverage. Eric Berry, who he thought was not looking on the play, picked it off. Made a good play, picked it off, got his feet down. No points. Instead of getting a field goal and extending your lead, you go into halftime with 3 less points on the scoreboard. In the game that was pretty close at that point, you needed to get that field goal. You needed to feel good about that drive. And this is why the San Diego Chargers haven't been a good football team this year. Phillip Rivers was exceptional on this night. He was very sharp. And again, we haven't really seen this Phillip Rivers enough this season. We've seen the sporadic, spotty Phillip Rivers, the one that makes questionable decisions and tries to fit the ball into tight spaces where they don't belong, and the one that turns the football over. We saw a Phillip Rivers that resembled the Phillip Rivers that had this San Diego Chargers team in position to win the AFC West year in and year out for the last 5 or 6 years. We saw him on display last night. But in that one play in the first half, which is, I think, is a microcosm of what we've gotten from Phillip Rivers the last season and a half, that one play was a microcosm of what is ailing this San Diego Chargers team and what is really hindering Phillip Rivers in his progress to get this San Diego Chargers team back to respectability. It's bad decision making and feeling like you have to make a play when a play is not there to be made. Forcing it into a situation where you just need to make a different decision. Maybe throw it away. Maybe tuck it and run. But not throw it into tight coverage. I think all of those things were on display on this play. And that's what's troubling this San Diego Chargers team right now. But on this night, when you have the Kansas City Chiefs in town, it's always easy to overcome mistakes because the Kansas City Chiefs are going to do 2 things. 1, they're going to make more mistakes than you make. And 2, they don't score any points. So even if you make some mistakes and take points off the board when you had a chance to score, doesn't matter. The Chiefs aren't going to score that many points. And Even if you make a few mistakes, guess what? The Chiefs are going to make a few more than you make. So you're going to have a chance to atone for any mistakes that you may make throughout the ball game, because the Chiefs are going to give you every opportunity to overcome the mistakes you have made and win the football game. And that's what they did in this game. The Chargers kind of blew this one out of hand late in the football game as the Chiefs just started turning the football over left and right. And the Chargers did what they had to do at home. Phillip Rivers, sharp, was hitting his receivers, giving them a chance to make plays. And again, that one play in the first half was really their only mistake in this football game. They didn't really turn it over except for that one pick. They looked like the team that started the season 3-1. Is what the Chargers looked like last night. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. They played sound football. Ryan Matthews didn't fumble the football. Phillip Rivers didn't make a lot of bad decisions, didn't make a lot of bad throws. Only that one. They get the victory. It would be wishful thinking to think that this game symbolizes a turnaround for the Chargers. Now look, a win in the National Football League always boosts the morale of the team, always makes you feel a lot better than you did the week before when you lost. So this could be the first of a few steps that the Chargers need to take to getting back to where they need to be to have a chance to compete in the AFC West. But keep this in its proper perspective. It was the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. That's what the Chiefs do. They self-destruct. Man, you know the little bomb that says, this message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. That's what the Kansas City Chiefs are. They show up, and maybe 10 minutes after the game starts, there's a message that goes off that says, the Kansas City Chiefs will self-destruct in 5 seconds. And they do it over and over and over again throughout the course of the game and give you every chance to win. That's what they did on Thursday Night Football and lost the game. And really, who didn't expect them to lose this game? They went out and did exactly what you expected them to do. Turn it over, not score when they get in the red zone, and lose the football game. They lose to the San Diego Chargers on the road 13-31. Chargers take their record back to 500 at 4-4. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs are a morbid 1-7 on the season. And again, I've already stated this. There's really no ceiling for this Kansas City Chiefs team this season. There's nothing good that can come of losing. And I don't know when they get another win. That's the tough part about this. They're not a good football team. They don't do the things that it takes to win games. You know how some bad teams just don't get breaks? They're in the football game, but they lose the game by 1, by 3, by 6. And they're just like, hey, if we would have had 1 or 2 plays go our way, maybe we would have won. They're still not an overly talented team, but they just don't know how to win. That's not the Kansas City Chiefs, however. They're just not a good football team. They're not even in games most of the time. A lot of times they're getting blown out. I would love to see the point differential for these Kansas City Chiefs this season. I bet that it's approaching 100. If it's not already past that, or way past it. It's probably way past it. I'm probably being too generous by saying it's probably approaching 100. It's probably past 100 by now. But they don't score a lot of points, and the opposition, when they play the Chiefs, normally do. And that's what happened on this night. Chargers get it, 31-13. Whew. Sucks to be a Chiefs fan right now. Tell you what, it's a tough thing. Keep your head up, though. I guess something good will come your way. I guess. Maybe you'll get a quarterback in this draft. I don't know. You got to think positive. Anyway, I'll move on. So, I was able to get a win to start off my week. Always a good thing. This one wasn't tough, though. This one wasn't rocket science. Didn't have to perform brain surgery to get this W. This was a no-brainer. And as much as I tell you, don't trust the San Diego Chargers, you had no choice in this football game. They were playing the Kansas City Chiefs. They were at home. Nothing short of an absolute disaster was going to stop San Diego from winning this game. So, felt confident about my pick, and it proved to be a good one. So we move on to the Sunday slate of games. Going to break down every single matchup on Sunday's slate. Of course, we're going to save the Monday night tilt for Monday's episode in the lab room. And we'll go over that game as well as every game that occurred on Sunday. So with the omission of the Redskins game, which will be reserved for the Redskins report, and the Monday night game, we're going to go over every single game on the Sunday slate of games. So let's go ahead and get into these matchups on Sunday. First up, the 5-2 Baltimore Ravens are traveling to the 2-6 Cleveland Browns. On paper, this doesn't seem like a very intriguing matchup. You look at the records, the Ravens are 5-2. The Browns are 2-6. The Ravens beat the Browns already one time this season at home. The Ravens are coming off of a bye. You're just thinking, hey, everything's stacked up against the Browns in this game. The Ravens are going to win. And while that may be the case, I tell you, not so fast. Pump your brakes. This Cleveland Browns team is playing better football of late. They've won their last 2 out of 3. They're playing solid football right now. And just remember, let's not forget, they gave the Ravens all that they could handle at home when the Ravens did beat them earlier in the season on Thursday Night Football. That was not a blowout. That was a contest that was tightly contested and came down to the last play of the game. Now, you never thought for 1 second that the Ravens were going to lose that game. I never did, and I doubt that you did either. However, all that did was build the Browns' confidence to say, we can play with these guys. They're not heads and shoulders above us. They're not that much better of a football team than we are. We can beat them. Now they're home. Now they have a shot at the Ravens at Paul Brown Stadium. They have a chance. And that's something that you didn't think the Browns really had, say, 4 weeks ago. They're playing better football. This offense is starting to gel. They're starting to know their limitations, what they can and can't do. Brandon Weeden is coming along as a quarterback. He's not making the critical mistake as of late. He's still a rookie, so you know there are going to be more mistakes to come. But he's playing better football. Trent Richardson, when healthy, has proven that he can be a workhorse running back for this Cleveland Browns team. You have to watch out for this game. This isn't a layup anymore. I like this Cleveland Browns team. This will be an interesting matchup to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, the Ravens came off of probably one of their worst beatings in the last 5 years. I mean, it's not many times you see the Ravens take a nice, hard blow to the chin and not get up from the canvas. But that's what happened their last time out 2 weeks ago before their bye against the Houston Texans on the road. The Texans thoroughly dominated the Ravens in every facet of the game, and the Ravens never stood a chance. They lost by 30. When's the last time you heard of the Baltimore Ravens losing in a football game by 30? Heck, when's the last time you heard of the Ravens losing by 20 in a football game? It's been a while. So to see them take one on the chin by 30, that was a surprise. But now they come off the bye, and I'm pretty sure they've gotten some things back in order. They're a 5-2 football team. So let's not jump off of a cliff because they lost by 30 to a good Houston Texans team who was at home and playing good football. Let's not do that. What the Ravens need to do is figure out how they're going to get this defense to be respectable. They're not going to be a dominant defense this season. That ship has sailed. That's gone. What they need to do, however, is augment this offense because this offense can score points. They have Ray Rice. They have Anquan Bolden. They have Torrey Smith. They have Dennis Pitta and Ed Dixon at tight end. They have guys that can get it done at the skill positions. And oh, by the way, Joe Flacco is their quarterback. They can score points on the offensive side of the football. What this defense needs to do is augment the offense. No longer is the offense trying to augment the defense. It's the other way around now. This defense just needs to help the offense out. The offense is going to score 24, 27 points on most occasions. Now this defense has to stop teams from scoring 24, 27 points on a week in, week out basis. Now they need to find a way to hold teams to just 20. The Ravens will win most games when their opponent scores 20 or less. So that's what they need to figure out in this game against the Browns. The Browns are still a young team. They're still trying to figure out what it means to be a consistent football team. 1 week you'll get a 27-point outburst from this Cleveland Browns team. You'll get 34 1 week. And then the next week you'll get 7. or you'll get 13. And that's where the disconnect is with this Cleveland Browns team right now. They're young, and they just don't know what it means to be consistent week in and week out. And so I expect the Ravens to be able to come into this game off of a bye and really rectify their situation, because there's no more Ray Lewis. Of course, they said that he might come back. I doubt it. There's no more Ladarius Webb. He's gone for the season. You welcome back Terrell Suggs right before the bye. So you've got Terrell Suggs back now. And so you have to figure out how you're going to make this defense work. This offense is going to get back on track. And you go to Cleveland and you show the Browns that, look, while you're playing better football of late, we're still the bullies in this division. You're the tenant. We are the landlords. You pay the rent in this division. We're just allowing you to rent real estate in this division. But we own the division. And so they need to go into Cleveland, smack the Browns around. They need to give the ball to Ray Rice. I think a lot of times with this no-huddle offense with Cam Cameron, the Ravens are forgetting that their best player on offense is Ray Rice. You can't forget that. Let's not lose sight of the fact that Ray Rice is your meal ticket. Joe Flacco is playing better football. He does have more weapons than he's had in the past. Still, you need to give the ball to Ray Rice. I don't care if it's on a screen. I don't care if it's on a wheel route. I don't care if you're just handing it off to him. Get the football to Ray Rice. And you have a backup running back now. So you can utilize Ray Rice in a myriad of ways and still give him a breather, because Bernard Pierce can come off the pine and give you some good minutes in the game. So the Ravens need to realize who their go-to guys are on offense. They need to find a way to play better defense, and I think they will in this game against the Browns. If you're the Browns, don't turn it over. Don't give the Ravens any help. They're already a better football team than you are. So don't help them. Don't commit stupid penalties, unnecessary penalties. Don't fumble the football. Don't turn it over. Don't throw interceptions. Be smart. It's okay to punt. Play sound defense. Give yourself a chance. If you have a chance in the fourth quarter in this game against the Ravens, then you've done yourself some justice. That's all you can ask for if you're the Browns. Give me a shot in the fourth quarter. I'm home. I'll find a way to get it done. But you have to find a way to get yourself in that position by doing all the things it takes to get it done, which means run the football with Trent Richardson. Set up play action fake for Brandon Weeden, who is going down the field to Josh Gordon and having success doing so. Hey, you got Jimmy Smith out there at one corner. If you're the Cleveland Browns, you should be licking your chops at a situation where you set up the run. Now you set up play action fake. And you got Jimmy Smith one-on-one with Josh Gordon. You take that matchup, you run with it. Look at what the Houston Texans did with that matchup a week ago. Or 2 weeks ago, excuse me. They went to work on Jimmy Smith down the field, as should you. So if you do all the things that it takes to give yourself a chance, you have a chance in this football game. Do the Cleveland Browns. However, again, just like I treat the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going to treat the Cleveland Browns the same way. Until you actually go out and beat one of the bullies, one of the landlords of this division, that being the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. Until you beat one of them, I can't give you a victory. You have to earn it. You have to show me that you can do it. Because right now, you, North Cincinnati, have shown me that you can beat either one of these teams. So, until you do, I can't pick you in a game against these guys. I'm sorry, I can't do it. So, Baltimore Ravens will come off of their bye and notch a victory against the Cleveland Browns, 27-20, taking their record to 6-2 on the season. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns will drop to 2-7 on the season. And look, while they're 2-7, if they lose this football game, I like the direction the Cleveland Browns are going in. Not going to lie to you. I had this team being about 1-15, 2-14, 3-13, somewhere in that vicinity. And even if they finish that way, I still like the direction they're going in. But you can see they're going to be competitive, and they've already won 2 games. I find it highly unlikely that they don't win at least another 2 more throughout the course of this season. And if they do that, they would have exceeded my expectations for this season. And I actually like what I see out of Brandon Weeden, out of Josh Gordon, out of a lot of these young receivers, Travis Benjamin, Jordan Cameron at the tight end position. I like what they're doing. I like Trent Richardson when he's healthy. They're going to be a scary team moving forward if they can continue to build on this young nucleus that they have. But they won't get it done against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. The Ravens are still the better team and one of the best teams in that division, and so can't see them getting a win. Ravens 27, Browns 20. We move on to the next tilt. We find ourselves in Green Bay. Arizona Cardinals are traveling to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers in what should be an easy win for the Packers. I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are a good football team. They started off the season 4-0, and since, they've dropped 4 straight. And their quarterback situation, their offensive line, these are all things that are going to be issues for the Arizona Cardinals moving forward. You can't win games in the National Football League if you can't protect your quarterback. And if you don't have an offensive line that's a functional offensive line, you can't be an offense that puts up any points. And that's what's wrong with this Arizona Cardinals team right now. This defense is a playoff-ready defense. But this offense is terrible because they don't have an offensive line that is fully functional and equipped to help this offense score points. They are missing both of their tackles. They're missing one of their guards. And when you got backups at just about every position on your offensive line, you're going to struggle. And that's what's going on with this Arizona Cardinals team. They can't protect their quarterbacks. Their quarterbacks aren't any good anyway. And so they're just struggling right now. They don't have a run game. You can't pass the ball because they can't pass protect. The Packers are going to jump on them in this football game. They're going to get pressure with Clay Matthews and company. They're going to force them to be one-dimensional because, as we've already stated, they can't run the football. The run game is non-existent in Arizona, so they're going to have to pass, and when they do so, the Packers are going to come after them. They're going to force them into mistakes. And this is going to be another one of those games like we saw from them on Monday Night Football against San Francisco, where they just struggle to score, where it's going to be a tall task for them to put points on the board. And once that happens, Green Bay is going to jump on them. Aaron Rodgers had a less than stellar week a week ago. He didn't have anybody to throw to. But that doesn't matter because even if those same injuries are still existing coming into this week, doesn't matter. They're going to find a way to score enough points to beat this Arizona Cardinals team. So Green Bay is going to go out and they have some things that they need to iron out as well. The Packers, their run game stinks. They're really posting some terrible numbers running the football. And that's not what they are. They're not a run-heavy, run-dominant football team. But still, when you need to be able to run the football, it's always nice to be able to turn around and hand it off and know that your running game can be successful when you need it to be. And right now, the Packers can't do that. So, that's something that they need to try to work on in this game if they get a chance to. But Aaron Rodgers needs to carve this Arizona Cardinals defense up. Put points on the board. Put them out of their misery early on. And then if you want to work on the run game, hey, by all means, do so. But I see the Packers being able to dominate this on the defensive end, stifle this Arizona Cardinals offense, and cruise to a victory, 26-10. So the 4-4 Arizona Cardinals will drop to 4-5 on the season. Meanwhile, the Green Bay Packers, who finally made it over 500 for the first time last week after their victory against Jacksonville, will take that 4-3 record and elevate it to 5-3, giving them another win and elevating them that much closer to the Chicago Bears in that division because, again, they got one more matchup with the Bears. And I don't think the Bears are going to continue to play hot football for the remainder of the season. I think that the Packers are going to start to get better. And they're going to get healthier. This is a really banged-up Packers football team right now. No excuses. Nobody cares. Everybody's dealing with injuries. But they're going to get healthier. It's always good to get wins while you're on the mend. So if the Packers can do that, they have to feel good about their situation moving forward as we start to get into the critical stages of the NFL season. Moving on, my sole survivor pick of the week was the Buffalo Bills traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. I see the Texans dominating this football game. If not trusting the San Diego Chargers is rule number 1, rule number 2 is don't trust the Buffalo Bills. So this is why this is my sole survivor pick of the week. The Buffalo Bills are not a good football team. They do one thing correctly, though. They run the football very well. If you can't stop C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson, it's going to be a long day for you because those guys set the tone for this Buffalo Bills offense. Hell, they set the tone for this Buffalo Bills team. If they can run the football, sustain offense, sustain drives, they're going to score points because now there's diversity in this offense. They can run, and then Fitzpatrick can get comfortable, play action fake, and now you have to respect it because you're struggling to stop those two running backs. Now he can go to Stevie Johnson. Now he can find other options such as Scott Chandler and push the ball down the field. Now you're in trouble. Now you're in a dogfight with the Buffalo Bills. But if you stop the run and tell them it's not occurring today, find another means of which to get in the end zone, and Ryan Fitzpatrick starts to rev up his engine and says, okay, I'll show you what I can do, and he starts trying to be a gunslinger, you've done yourself some justice. Because now you're going to get a couple of balls thrown your way that you can make plays on. And that's what I expect the Houston Texans to do in this game. Attack the Bills' run game first and foremost. Take that out of the equation. Make Ryan Fitzpatrick beat you. And once he starts throwing the peel around, you get interception attempts. And one thing this Houston Texans team has been great at this season is picking the football off and finding the end zone with it. They're really good at that. And this game is going to get out of control because the Bills are going to turn it over and the Texans are going to use those turnovers to power that engine that is the Houston Texans into some more points. And so I expect the Texans to go out, run the football, and both of these teams are coming off of byes. Buffalo coming off a bye means a lot less than the Texans coming off the bye because the Texans are going to do a lot more with their bye than the Buffalo Bills are. So I expect the Texans to be well rested, ready to go. Arian Foster, Ben Tate, and that rushing attack to be in midseason form. I expect Matt Schaub to come off that play action fake and go up top to Kevin Walter, Andre Johnson, and whoever else he feels like going up top to. Whether it's Owen Daniels or some one of these other receivers, they're going to have their way with this Buffalo Bills team. And I expect them to win this game 33-13, taking their record to 7-1 on the season. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills, who were once 3-3 on the season and tied atop the AFC West, will now drop to 3-5 on the season. As again, I think that they're going in the wrong direction. The Bills were once 3-3 in that AFC. The Bills were once 3-3 and tied atop the AFC East division. Now have dropped 2 straight and will find themselves at 3-5 after losing to the Texans on Sunday. And luckily enough, if you're the Bills, you should be sending the Arizona Cardinals a thank you card. Because had it not been for the Arizona Cardinals and their lack of production on the offensive end and allowing you to go into Arizona and get a win, you would probably be on a losing streak of epic proportions right now. After being destroyed by the Patriots and 49ers in consecutive weeks, had you lost to the Cardinals, then you turned around and went home and lost to the Titans, and you're going to get throttled against this Houston Texans team, you would have been on a 5-game losing streak right now. And again, with no end in sight, this thing could have gotten to 6, 7, possibly 8 or 9. However, you were able to notch that victory in Arizona to save yourself from embarrassment. But look, this thing is going in the wrong direction. You're not a good football team. And there's grumblings around Buffalo right now that you made a mistake in giving Ryan Fitzpatrick that money and making him your starting quarterback. And look, hindsight is 20/20. It seemed like a good decision at the time when he was playing good football. 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. You know, had the Bills playing very good football before his injury and Fred Jackson's injury. Before the bottom dropped out of this thing, you guys were playing good football. Looking like contenders in that AFC East division a year ago. But since then, since he's gotten his money, hasn't been the same team. And now you have some serious soul searching to do. You have to realize that you probably made a mistake, cut your losses, and figure out how to get this thing back on track. But that's a discussion for the offseason. You're going to lose against the Texans. You're going to fall to 3-5 on the season. You're going to find yourself back at the bottom of the AFC East division, where you belong. Because, again, I think you are the worst team in that division. Didn't think that was going to be the case coming into this season. Thought that was going to be reserved for the Dolphins with their rookie quarterback. Thought they were going to have some growing pains with that rookie quarterback and that rookie head coach. But they're really outperforming you by light years. So all that money you spend in the offseason, money wasted. Now you got to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to get this thing on track. So we move on to the next game. The Miami Dolphins, who we just spoke about, who are 4-3 on the season, are traveling to the Indianapolis Colts, who are also 4-3 on the season. These are two surprising football teams in this season. Who would have thought either one of these teams would be over 500 at the midpoint of the NFL season? Who would have thought it? Not me. Two rookie quarterbacks outperforming what we thought. And look, it's hard for Andrew Luck to outperform the expectations that we had set for him. I mean, we really christened him the next big thing in the National Football League. But he's come in and he has exceeded, I think, expectations. Because even if you thought Andrew Luck was going to be the can't-miss prospect that he's proven to be, you didn't think that it was going to translate to wins on the field. And again, they haven't played the toughest of competition. Who cares? All you can do is go out and play against the teams that they put in front of you. If the NFL says you have to play the Kansas City Chiefs, then you play the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not your fault that the Kansas City Chiefs are 1-6 and they're terrible. That's not your problem. You just go out and add another loss to their record is what you are supposed to do. And that's what the Indianapolis Colts have done this season. They've beat up some bad teams, but it doesn't matter. You beat who's in front of you. And so Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts have been getting it done. And what he's done, and I think what a lot of people ignored when guys like Reggie Wayne decided to stick around and Dwight Freeney stuck around, was young quarterbacks, young guys, they infused the whole locker room, the whole franchise with youthful exuberance. Everyone's feeling a lot better about the situation. Even though a rookie is leading this team, if he's good, it gives everyone hope. And I think that's what Andrew Luck has done to this Indianapolis Colts team. Look at Reggie Wayne. He leads the NFL in receptions right now. Reggie Wayne. He's never done that, even when Peyton Manning was his quarterback. And Reggie had some extraordinary seasons. Okay, he might have finished the season with more receptions than anyone, but to say this early in the season, Reggie Wayne has been one of the best receivers in the league, it's always been someone you can say, hey, this guy's playing just as good, if not better, than Reggie Wayne. When he was at his peak, now he's playing out of this world. And it's all because of Andrew Luck. And so this is going to be an interesting matchup because I like what Ryan Tannehill is doing across the field in this football game from the Indianapolis Colts and Andrew Luck. Ryan Tannehill has led this Miami Dolphins team. Now, he got hurt a week ago. He did not finish the game. Hell, he didn't even make it to halftime in this game. He didn't even make it to the second quarter in this game. Doesn't matter, though. The Dolphins have a situation that most teams in the NFL envy in the fact that they have a more than capable backup quarterback that can come in and get the job done if need be. And that's what happened a week ago as Matt Moore stepped in, got it done, took them to a victory against the Jets. And so Ryan Tannehill has taken all of the first team reps in practice, so he's going to start and play. And he's been playing really good football of late. Again, just as I said about Brandon Weeden, he's not making the critical turnover anymore. He's not making the mistake that hinders his team from winning the football game. He's doing the direct opposite. He's making plays when they're there to be made. He's not missing the throw down the field. He's pushing the ball down the field. And the Dolphins are really void of playmakers. But the few that they have, Tannehill is seeking them out and getting them the football. He's finding Devon Best. He's finding Brian Hartline. He's finding Reggie Bush. He's getting the ball to guys that can make plays. And then when they get in the red zone, they find Anthony Fasano. So this team is getting it done, and they're quietly sneaking up on teams. And they're quietly sneaking under the radar. And if you're not careful, the Dolphins will sneak into the playoff picture. They're playing solid football on the defensive side of the ball. They're sound in their principles on special teams. And they don't beat themselves on offense. That's a winning recipe in the National Football League. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Again, when you get two teams that are evenly matched, both teams 4-3, both teams have rookie quarterbacks, both teams have first-year head coaches, even though one's not there in Chuck Pagano. Still, these two teams mirror each other. And when you get teams going up against each other like this, you always take the home team. Even though I think the Dolphins have no problems going on the road and winning. We've seen that already with this Dolphins team. Last week, they beat up on the Jets on the road, 30-9. They went to Cincinnati early in the season, beat the Cincinnati Bengals, who at that time was undefeated at home, and beat them in Cincinnati. So we've seen the Dolphins go on the road. They don't care that they're on the road. It does not matter to them. They'll go in your house, disrespect you, and leave with the W. They don't care. So, all that being said, I still have to take the Indianapolis Colts and Andrew Luck at home. They've been playing really good football at home, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure. Okay, they've been playing really good football at home, and so I have to stick with my principles on this one. You take the home team, and the home team is the Indianapolis Colts at home against the Miami Dolphins. This is going to be a close one, and every game that the Colts have been in at home that they've played in and won, it's been a close game. They don't blow teams out. They're not at that stage yet where they can just put their foot on an opposing team's throat and not allow them to get back in a football game. They're not at that point yet. They just want to win. They're not at the point now where they feel like they're good enough to just beat you, and so they should be blowing teams out. They're not there. So every game that they're going to win is going to be close. And so I expect that to be exactly what happens in this game. I expect that to be the case in this game as well. Dolphins are going to give them everything they can handle and then some, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Indianapolis Colts will get this one on Sunday, 23-20. This is going to be a good football game. I can't wait to watch it. Two members of the starting five facing off against each other. This is going to be a compelling watch. I can't wait. But I think the Dolphins are going to fall to the Colts because they're on the road and because Ryan Tannehill is coming off of an injury. We're going to see how he responds after missing essentially all of last game. We're going to see how he responds to that injury. Colts 23, Dolphins 20. Dolphins fall to 4-4 on the season. Colts elevate their record to 5-3. Who would have thought either one of these teams could have an opportunity after 9 weeks in the NFL? After 9 weeks after 9 weeks in the 2012 season, will actually have an opportunity to be 5-3 on the season. Who knew? Wow. What a quarterback can do for you. You don't have one, best go get you one. Because that's what a quarterback can do for you. Can change your franchise. You don't have one, you don't have a chance. You get one, now you're a player in the ball game. I don't need to say anything else. These are prime examples right here. So we move on. The 4-3 Denver Broncos, who are playing hot football of late, winners of 3 straight, are traveling to the Cincinnati Bengals, who are not playing really hot football of late, losers of 2 straight. And this is going to be a good test for the Denver Broncos. The Cincinnati Bengals are coming off of a bye. They're at home. And look, even though they're not playing the best of football right now, they're still at home, and you still must respect the Cincinnati Bengals for what they are, a playoff team from a year ago. So don't count them out, because I don't think they're a playoff team this year. But that doesn't mean that they can't come off of a bye at home and beat the Denver Broncos. So what you need to do is respect the Cincinnati Bengals for what they are and give them a shot in this football game, because they have a legitimate shot of beating the Denver Broncos. The Broncos, I think, are starting to hit their stride, but they're not at the level yet where I feel that they can just go into opposing teams' house and just take care of business. You don't look at the Broncos and say, okay, no matter where they go, who they're playing, they should be able to get a W. They're They are not at that point yet. I feel confident about this Broncos team at home. When they go on the road, however, I have questions. But I think Peyton Manning, playing the way he's playing right now, is going to be tough to beat this Denver Broncos team. I think the Bengals' biggest issue right now is that they're not spreading the football around. If you take A.J. Green away, they're struggling on the offensive end. Hopefully this bye week was able to open their eyes and allow them to see that their one main deficiency is the fact that they're not trusting guys to make plays other than A.J. Green. And yeah, it'd be nice if their run game was a lot better with Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. But you got to find other targets to go to. You got Jermaine Gresham. You got Armand Benz. You got a couple of rookie receivers you drafted. Mohamed Sanu and another one out of Cal. You got guys you can get the football to. You have to start utilizing other weapons. And hell, you got one of the quickest and most dangerous weapons in all of the National Football League in Andrew Hawkins. Use him. Get him the football. You got to start getting things done on the offensive end. You went from being a fringe explosive team on the offensive end to just an ordinary run-of-the-mill offense because you've been force-feeding the football, or at least trying to A.J. Green, and when teams take him away, you become stagnant on offense. So that's something hopefully you were able to address during the bye week. Nonetheless, this Denver Broncos team is playing hot football, mainly because of Peyton Manning. He is becoming Peyton Manning of old. He's becoming surgical again. He's making calls at the line of scrimmage. He's dissecting defenses. And he's making all of the throws on the football field. Translation, we're talking about a hot quarterback right now. Maybe one of the best in all of the National Football League up to this point during the 2012 season. That is crazy to say, being that he's just coming off of neck surgery last year, hasn't played football in essentially a year and a half, and he just came back and he's a world beater again. Unbelievable. And I think that Peyton Manning and his ability to get this Denver Broncos offense on track is going to be enough to go on the road and beat a Cincinnati Bengals team that right now is struggling to find an identity. They don't know who they are on offense right now. And I think that's going to prove to be the difference in this game. As Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos, they know who they are. They are the Peyton Manning Broncos right now. He is riding the Bronco right now. That guy you see on top of that Bronco, that's Peyton Manning. He's driving this team to a playoff berth, to an AFC West berth. If Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker just continue to follow his lead, this is going to be a scary team to have to contend with in the AFC. As the Bengals will find out on Sunday. Broncos 30, Bengals 20. Bengals drop another one, and again, they're going in the opposite direction. After starting the season 3-1, they're finding it hard to win football games. Cincinnati Bengals have dropped 3 straight. And I think it's going to be 4 straight after meeting the Denver Broncos in Week 9. I just don't see them being able to pull this game out. And I tell you one thing, they've got some issues to iron out along that offense and some things to figure out on defense as well. Even though the defense isn't really the problem, it's been more so the offense than the defense this year. They still got to figure out why it is they can't get on track, why they can't be in sync. In any given ball game, one or the other has stepped up. Either the defense is playing and the offense isn't helping, or the offense is playing and the defense isn't any help. One way or the other, they got to figure out how to get both of these sides of the football on the same page and get this thing on track. Again, this isn't a team that goes to the playoffs every single year. They're a young bunch, and they're very impressionable. And so when they start to lose, it stings. And they're a young team that doesn't have a lot of veterans there to tell them, hey, look, I've been here before. We just got to get a win. This thing will be okay. We can turn it around. It's a lot of young guys. And all they're used to is winning. Whether they won at college or they won last year with the Bengals. They're not used to losing. They're not used to having to stop a 4-game slide. It's not what they are accustomed to doing. And so Marvin Lewis has to get this thing turned around. He has to stop this bleeding here shortly, or this thing could spin out of control. Broncos 30, Bengals 20. Bengals, after this football game, will be 3-5 if they're not able to get the victory. Meanwhile, the Broncos, who are really playing good football and are looking to really start to assert themselves in the AFC West, will go to 5-3 on the season. Next up on the docket is the 3-4 Detroit Lions traveling to Jacksonville to take on the 1-6 Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are in the same boat as the Kansas City Chiefs. They are neck and neck fighting for the worst team in the National Football League. I think these are the two worst teams in the league. But I think Jacksonville is actually better off than the Kansas City Chiefs right now. And the only reason is because they think they have a quarterback. We're not sure. Jury's still out on Blaine Gabbert. But Kansas City knows they don't have a quarterback. And that's the problem that lies therein in Kansas City, is they don't have a quarterback. I think the Chiefs actually have more talent than the Jacksonville Jaguars. But when you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. So Jacksonville actually has a chance, as you saw last week against Green Bay. That defense, and we've talked about their defense, is one of these defenses that fights, scratches, and claws, and will fight you all game long for as long as they can stand. They're going to give their team a chance for as long as they can keep themselves in the ball game. But again, you can only do so much as a defense when your offense isn't helping you. Whether it's 3-and-outs or turnovers that's putting you in difficult situations. This Jacksonville Jaguars defense usually wears down after the third quarter because they can't withstand being on the field for 55, 60, 65 snaps because this Jacksonville Jaguars offense isn't sustaining drives, isn't scoring points, isn't giving them a chance. So it's tough. It's a tough task to ask a defense to stand up the whole game without any help. That's what's happened to this Jacksonville Jaguars defense. Meanwhile, the offense is struggling. And they're struggling because they don't have a lot of talent. And that's just the crux of their problem. They don't have a lot of talent. Cecil Shorts is emerging as a go-to receiver for Blaine Gabbert. What happened to Justin Blackmon, though? He was your #1 draft pick. Why is he not your go-to receiver? He's a question mark. Mercedes Lewis is a big play tight end for you, or at least he's supposed to be. Why is he not getting the football more? That's a question mark, a question that you have to ask yourself. Why is he not producing more? Maurice Jones-Drew, who held out because you didn't want to pay him money. He's injured right now. You don't have a running game. So the offense is just struggling. Meanwhile, you look at the Detroit Lions, a playoff team from a year ago. They're 3-4 on the season. They got a big win at home last week against Seattle. They're looking to build off of that win. And they should be able to. Going to Jacksonville is like playing a home game. The Jaguars don't have a fan base. They don't care. They're going to have 7 fans at this game. So if you're Detroit and you just bust 10 fans to this game, you'll have a home field advantage. Jacksonville really didn't have a fan base of which to speak of. And so this shouldn't be a tall order to ask the Detroit Lions to go on the road and get a win. If you're the Lions and you want to keep your season alive, because you're in a tough division as it is already, you have to deal with the Minnesota Vikings, who are 5-3 and a surprising team in the National Football League this season, who have already beat you once at home in your own building this season already. You have to contend with the Green Bay Packers, who are the reigning NFC North division champs. And then you have to deal with the Chicago Bears, who are leading that division right now and playing really good football. So if you're the Detroit Lions, you can't afford to go on the road to Jacksonville, a 1-6 team, and lose a football game. You got to go in there and you got to get a win. That's what I expect the Detroit Lions to be able to do. Go into Jacksonville. Don't allow them to run the football. Make Blaine Gabbert beat you. That's always the name of the game when you play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pull their card. You're calling Blaine Gabbert. You're calling his bluff. Can you beat me? I don't think so. What are you holding over there in your hand? Make him beat you. Call his bluff. That's what most teams do, and that's why most teams come away with a victory. Don't allow them to run the football. Make Blaine Gabbert beat you, which most times he won't be able to. You, on the other hand, need to sustain offense, score points like you did a week ago against Seattle. And if you can score against that Seattle Seahawks defense, why can't you score against this Jacksonville Jaguars defense? Build some confidence. Start scoring touchdowns. Your biggest problem, if you're the Detroit Lions this season, has been settling for field goals. Having drives stall out and having to settle for a Jason Hanson field goal instead of punching it in the end zone and getting touchdowns. Last week, you did a great job of getting in the end zone, and that was the difference in the game. Had you decided to kick field goals last week, you would have lost to the Seattle Seahawks. But you pushed it down the field, got it in the end zone, and you won the football game because of it. Do that same thing. Pack up that same game plan from last week. Take it to Jacksonville. You'll get yourself a W. Detroit Lions go on the road to Jacksonville and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-17, taking their record back to 500 on the season at 4-4. Meanwhile, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to struggle to find ways to win this season. They go to 1-7 on the season.